Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Depressed Eeyore, and this is Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 10. So, we got two more matches of the 5 placement matches to go through. So far, we have two losses and 1 win. So, I mean, I'm already doing better than I thought I was going to do. I was assuming a lot more losses. In any case, our opponent is Goosey here, or Gussie. We see an SP. His name escapes me. Lewin. Yeah, Lewin. SP Lewin. We've got Luna here. Got a Layla, Gerald and Layla, of all things. Yeah, just there's some faces we haven't seen in a while. Heck, there's even a Sophia, Deedlit of all things. This box is actually a lot of Origins faction, which I didn't really realize until I allowed them to have a faction buffer. Yeah, almost. This is almost entirely a Origins faction box. There's, I think, a few exceptions. I think, obviously, SP Alta Muller is not one, and obviously some of the healers are not. And I'm pretty sure Epsilon is not as well. But everyone else, yeah, this is a Origins box. It's actually pretty cool. They opened with banning my Rosen Seal, which, you know, I guess I can kind of understand. Went ahead and banned their Rosen Seal in return. And went with Lycoris as my opener. Why'd I go Lycoris? Oh, I went Lycoris first because I had only technically only two healers left. So grabbed her. They banned my tanks, and they take right off the bat. They just brought in Freya, SP Freya. So went ahead and got rid of Lana, Luna, and their Liana. So at this point they're down to 2 healers. So if they want a primary healer, they'll have to take one of them. Deedlit can technically be a sort of an off healer, but her heal has a pretty long cooldown. And she can do some passive healing as well, but that's about it. Went ahead and grab Lucretia. They start banning my casters and teleport. They take Tiaras as their healer. I'm completely fine with that. Went ahead and got rid of Leonhardt and Jugler. I went ahead and brought in Iron Chancellor, so at this point I got my enabler. They go ahead and get rid of Shafaniel and Sissy White. I think in hindsight, well, I think an alteration, if I'm going to do any, is probably get rid of Shafaniel and replace her with somebody else. I don't think Shafaniel's going to be as useful as I want her to be. SP Lewin. I went ahead and got rid of their assassin and their teleport. Grabbed Gustav. They got rid of my Farna and Renee, and leaves me with Michelle and Maya. And I grabbed Gerald and Layla, of all things. At this point, I got rid of both Deedlit and Alta Muller. This leaves, SP Dehart? So either they can bring SP Dehart, in which case they would still have a healer. And I was like, or they can bring 2 healers. I went ahead and took Michelle. And yeah, they take Dehart. Alright. Okay. So Gerald and Layla have access to Fairy Spirit Prophets. That's nice. So does Dehart. Yeah, his name is Lewin. Found that out. Alright, so Freya brought faction buff, no surprise there. Tiaras brought 3C, no surprise there. Gerald and Layla, for those who don't know what they actually do, they can either be a Cav class or a Holy class, and then they can actually change classes with their 3C. So their talent makes it so they can get max damage even in melee. And if they do a ranged attack, they'll heal everybody based off the sum of their attack and intelligence and dispel a debuff. If they do a melee attack, they'll heal themselves instead and get debuff immunity for 1 turn. They have access to Holy Word as a sort of ranged cast spell. And then Layla's Blessing is their 3C. Essentially, it'll change them. In this case, they'll change into a cavalry unit. And they end up switching essentially like 50% of their intelligence will get added to their attack. And then really the big thing is they get to move 3 spaces and act again. And then after the cooldown's done, they can use the spell again to transform again back into a holy class. Unfortunately, it's not super good. There was a few times when Gerald Layla was okay, like at best okay. They were able to like tank bust a juggler back in the day if someone built them right. But nowadays, it's just the biggest issue I believe is how their troops attack and how they attack. Makes it so they have like the most inefficient sort of attack animations, which unfortunately does influence how the damage goes. D-Hurt brought Strike, which for some reason I thought only moved 2 spaces this battle. It actually moves 3. He does have access to sneak attack, so it does some additional fixed damage. This is SP, so I guess we have some new stuff to talk about. He has increased crit rate and crit damage. When there are 3 females, if there are females within 3 blocks, he gets damage reduction, and he will also get healed at the end of action. And if he kills an enemy, he can move 2 blocks. So he essentially has a move again. The only females in this team is actually Freya and TRS. Gerald and Layla is classified as a male character, or at least not female. Strike, nothing new there. His 3C is 2 range, ignores guard, has increased crits. If you do crit with it, he restores HP after battle, and then before battle he'll steal 2 buffs, and if this attack does not eliminate the enemy, it will activate all of your effects, and that usually only trigger after killing a target, which would only be his sincere will, unfortunately. The other thing is his exclusive helmet is, I believe if he ever gets a kill, he can actually stun somebody nearby. So with that in mind, I actually brought Mass Resist. That'll make me immune to stun. Besides that, Luwin's pretty standard, it looks like. Yeah, that's pretty much everybody. Lucretia brought Black Hole, nothing too special. Gustav, standard kit. Michelle, standard kit. Ironblood, standard kit with mass attack. And then Lycoris, I brought faction buff, mass heal, and mass resist. Since I was using her as a healer, I did have to kind of bring a faction for her, just so she can cool off her mass heal more often. Alright, so some things to note. D-Heart can go to here. He does have Terrain Master, I believe. I think he has Terrain Master. But he can go all the way to here, and then go 1, 2, 3 to there, and attack to there. But with TRS 3C, I believe he can reach all the way to here. Assuming he's Terrain Master. I don't remember if SP D-Hurt gives him automatic Terrain Master. It usually does. Anyway, opening with Mass Resist. I was mostly just passing turns just to see what my opponent was going to do first. So Conquest. Puts it on my Michelle. Went ahead and did reset just to get her on cooldown so she has extended range. They move in. So yeah. Oh yeah, it's something I didn't even consider. So Gerald and Layla, I think for some reason I was counting out Gerald and Layla as 5 movement because I was assuming that they had Cav class, but this one is actually just holy. So yeah, this one doesn't actually have a lot of coverage. She does have extended range. How? She is holy. What would give her extended range? I have no idea what's giving her extended range. I mean, unless she has access to spears, which would give her I guess, access to the Feather Duster. But yeah, I don't know any caster items that extend range like this. Like, there's some that extend like regular single target skills, but not regular attacks. So I'm a little confused about that. Either way, I'm not too worried. So, Ray moves in, buffs everybody. So yeah, this is a full Origin box, so this is just a full faction buff. So at this point, go ahead and do mass attack. Oh yeah, I shuffled really bad here. I put my Arcane... for some reason, I moved my Arcane Golem up here, and I was like, oh, I'll just put Lucretia here. And then I was like, what am I doing? I'm an idiot. So my formation buff is going to be applied to an Arcane Golem rather than Lucretia herself. I mean, it does make him so he can teleport her further, I guess. But yeah, I screwed up my formation really bad this fight. Alright, so all of them now have +1 movement, as well as a bunch of increased damage and damage reduction while attacking. So at this point, I was like, alright, well, I need to shift her out of the way. And Didn't do Scorching Lance. So yeah, Scorching Lance is a 6-range line AoE, and since I had the substitute here, it hits all 4 of them. And so since it hit 3 or more targets, this 1 turn cooldown became 0. Okay, yeah, he definitely has Terrain Master, because he can go into Swamp. Alright. Yeah, and then with this, like I said, for some reason, I thought Strike was 2 movement, but it's 3 movement, and he has 2 range, so I'm actually got both Iron Blood Commander and Michelle in target range. So here comes the strike. Steal some of my buffs. This is Cav versus infantry, as well as magic damage. And then he moves in. He tries to do Lion Roar, but I made everyone immune to stun. So, God, that damage. Let me rewind that real quick, because that was... So yeah. So one thing I made note of was the first AoE brought Gerald and Layla down to 41%. And then this TRS is sitting at, what, 54%? And then D-Heart himself is actually a Cav. So Spirit AoEs do even more to him. So I wanted to at least weaken D-Heart if I could. So with this, I was like, alright, well, hit everybody. Yeah, that was... Oh yeah, and then my axe procced, or spear procced, and did more fixed damage and finished off TRS. So I lost 1. He's on cooldown, so I get first strike and extra damage and just kill him. Now one thing to also note, D-Heart killed Iron Chancellor, and that was the target that Lewin debuffed with Holy Edict. And this is important because while Holy Edict's on the field, he gets +2 mobility. But since Iron Chancellor got killed, because D-Heart killed her, Holy Edict is not on the board anymore, and so Lewin actually lost his mobility buff. He does have additional mobility thanks to the 3C from TRS, but beyond that, he actually lost a lot of his stuff. It made it so he actually couldn't close in and do his AoE as a follow-up. But he is in range now, so I was like, alright, we'll use this opportunity to go ahead and heal up. So, infantry troops. Or sorry, spear infantry troops. So free strike. Wasn't enough to kill, but still did quite a bit. And then I use this opportunity to go ahead and do a swap. And then all that extra mobility came into play there, so I can just go all the way to the top. And then Lewin's gonna Soul Fury. He ain't gonna kill anyone with that. Does a lot of damage. It purges buffs. The terrain also purges buffs and does damage. But I can replace the terrain with that. And then I'll just go ahead and do a flame attack, hit them both. And debuff. It purchases 3 buffs as well. And then I AoE with 3C. Finishes off Freya. And my opponent decided to fight to the end, and so I finish off Lewin with Lucretia here. Alright, so with that we're two wins, 2 losses. So not too bad. I mean, a lot of times I've had situations where I've gotten 5 wins, but usually I float around 2 or 3 wins. So this box is doing about the equivalent, which is not too bad. So let's take a look at that last match. Alright, last match. Are we going to be two wins or 3 wins? That's the question. Alright, they opened with banning my Rodent Seal. This one is... Yes, we got 2 tanks. Got Wet Ham, got some AoEs, got some long-range strikers. We got what is it? Actually, we have Ares and Old Larrys. So yeah, a lot of things I have to be a little bit concerned about, to say the least. So them banning Rosen Seal first definitely makes sense with all the mass AoE and debuffs they have access to. Wet Hand went straight for Wet Ham. I was like, I need to get rid of Wet Ham. Cherry's a problem, but Wet Ham's worse. Wet Hand opened with Iron Chancellor as my first pick this time. They go ahead and take out my one of my tanks and my teleports. They pick Sherry. I was not surprised. At this point, I banned all their tanks. Just to make sure I can go after. If I do need to go single target, I had that option now. There's also, we got Kyura here, which can kind of mess up AoE a bit because she can passive heal. Grab Lucretia. They go ahead and ban Sissy White, my my other tank. They take SP Element, so another long range striker that can also buff Sherry. Got rid of Ares, got rid of their teleport. Grab Michelle. Yeah, even though I hadn't picked a heal yet, I had to grab Michelle, so I had a way of dealing with L1 once he charges in. They banned some of my AoE casters. They take Kyura. At this point, I got rid of Lucretia and Sissy White, so no Act-Agains, no long-range spells or self-resing. Grabbed Lycoris at this point. They banned Gustav and Renee, leaving me with Varna and Maya. They take Emperor, whatever his name is, Emperor Ares there. Go ahead and banned their Act-Again at this point, and what is that? What's his name? Not Gizarov. What is his name? I don't remember. But go ahead and grab Varna at this point. This will ensure I have another source of mass attack. And then they take a healer. So it didn't take Bozel, which was great for me. Alright, so I guess key thing here is my Lucretia brought in Firebrand snipers. I was assuming the Sherry was going to bring Angels. I was wrong. The Sherry brought in Earth Elf Knights, which actually just makes my life easier because now she's easier to kill. This Lycoris brought Mass Heal in 3C and Transform. So I don't have very much healing, but I don't really need to worry about AoEs. It's all mostly single target. The biggest threat is the Sherry. Since I don't have tanks, literally she can just run in, kill 2 people. She can just, and since she has Earth Elf Knights, that why'd she bring Shadow Raid? There's literally no reason to bring Shadow Raid. I'm not guarding. So yeah, that was a weird pick. Anyway, standard Michelle, Varna, same thing as before in the previous matches. Yeah, I don't think I changed anything else. Yeah, the one big difference is the Firebrand snipers. Yeah, that's all correct. And then Lycoris, of course, I changed things up a bit. Alright, so the thing I didn't really take into account for Emperor Lavina here, he does have a passive teleport thing that he can do. And it gives him additional mobility. I didn't really understand how the range of the teleports. So I was counting steps, and then I didn't really take into account the teleport until afterwards. And I was like, oh, he's just going to teleport people and screw me over, isn't he? In any case, before we get screwed over, let's look at the rest. We got Kyura with Faceless, Sophia with 3C in Rewind, Elwyn, which has 3C with her with the passive faction buff, and of course we already looked over Sherry. And for Lavina, it does have Sword Soul and Flying Slash, which is a 2-range attack. Yeah, he didn't actually bring. I don't think he brought a 3C. He didn't. And then he has Unflinching, so he has the self-res. Alright, so at this point I'm mostly just concerned about the Sherry, and I'm just going to try to base my movement off of that. So I did Mass Heal just to get trained up, because I assumed my opponent was going to reach. In fact, right now, SP Ellen can reach my puppet. Like, that's how far he can go. He can go 1, 2, 3, 4 and attack the Arcane Golem. Obviously, that would be a bit of a waste, but the option is available. And you just saw the teleport. I believe the teleport's 2 spaces. So yeah, move forward 2 spaces, and you can see the range now. Assuming the Kyura has a range staff, everything's kind of in range at this point. So really, The good news is Sherry's still not in range, so I can at least work with that. So at this point I was like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to mass attack, get everyone buffed as much as possible, and just see what happens. Alright, so Flawless Wisdom, Exposed Weakness, Magic Shine, it critted, and I had 676 HP. Varna did have Last Rites equipped, and she was at full HP, which is probably what saved her. I've been trying to work on her enchants and get her HP up as much as possible, because obviously she's just an SR class, so her stats are rather low. But yeah, that was pretty good. That saved me a bit. To be honest, losing her is not a huge deal. I was hoping to be the one that she targeted. In fact, anyone else that got targeted probably would have been possibly better. I'm just kind of comparing here. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Anyway, so at this point I was like, alright, well, I'll do Magic Armor Substitute. Unfortunately, I couldn't really move in because Sherry's range is so long. But I did do some debuffs. And as you saw, the Kyura heal kind of negated my work, unfortunately. Alright, give me one moment. Alright, sorry about that. So my opponent did do 3C. Really the big benefit, of course, is her exclusive providing buffs, but unfortunately could not buff Kyura. Also, anytime Michelle does damage, essentially, she applies a stackable debuff that will increase the amount of AoE damage they take. And if it goes up to 3 stacks, it'll eventually make it explode after they take a turn. So at this point, I went ahead and moved just to get my Poppet out of range. And then the Sherry moved down, and then I moved in, did Arrow Rain. This wasn't going to do much, but it did dispel some buffs off of Lavina. Alright, so I did a little bit of damage, and now she has increased AoE damage taken. Not that it really matters, because she's just passively healing over and over again. I did get rid of Ipnar Lavina's attack buff, and that's about it. And then the Sherry here does have a little bit more coverage. Once she's able to strike anything, she's just going to get a bunch of extra actions and then murder everybody. So, moves in. So at this point I was like, I need to kill that Sherry. So teleport, Magic Pulse, and then I do additional damage to Holy with the 3C, also debuffed. She is enforced, she does have max HP, so all that does apply, but I was able to more than kill. So yeah, I did over 30,000, so yeah, that was more than enough. It was very important to kill her because she can kill 2 people in a single action, or single turn essentially. So now we're at the point where we're just trading. Did some passive healing. So Flying Slash. He had first strike, but still didn't get kill. He didn't have an attack buff. So at this point I moved in with Varna and just did a regular attack. So yeah, I actually want to take a look at that. I kind of looked at Kyura and Varna's stats over and over again, because I really wanted to kill Kyura, but I didn't want to use any of the other characters if I could. And Varna is kind of spent at this point, so I was like, well, let's see, 1493, Gargoyle is getting the plus 30% attack, because it is just above 50%. And Kyura's physical defense is abysmal, so yeah. I had to go through what? Looks like, we'll say 13,000 damage. And this, I think, did what, 20,000 with a regular attack? I'm always nervous about doing, 17,000 with a crit. Yeah, I'm always nervous about attacking with a raw attack, because obviously you don't get the usual 1.5 times that most attack skills provide. In any case, Elwyn went for the long haul here. Went straight for my infantry. 72,000, that was so much overkill. So at this point, I attacked in place. To be honest, I should have moved, The troopers that she's using actually reduce defense based off the number of space. No, sorry, it's the opposite, isn't it? Yeah, soldiers deal 6%. They moved before. Yeah, never mind. So yeah, staying in place is completely fine. But yeah, just to kind of again compare numbers. So yeah, L1's sitting at like looks like 24,000. Has decent defense, but both are cav, and I have spear troops. And as you can see, I do quite a bit of damage. Yeah, when initiating battle, I ignore 15% of defense. So even with a regular, normal, single, regular attack with no skills, yeah, I did 32,000, so more than enough. Yeah, and then Sophia's just left in the dust here. So at this point, I was like, well, transform. This time I remembered. Do my 3C, which will finish off the second life of Elwyn. Who's in to finish off Varna. Yep, even with Sword Soul was not enough. Yeah, him not purging his attack buff really hurt him. Even then, though, at best he would have taken 1 life off of Lucretia, and then maybe killed Varna. Of course, if he had taken 1 life off of Lucretia, he probably would have just moved to kill Lucretia instead. But yeah, not too bad. And there you go. 3 wins, 2 losses. That does put us in Silver 1, which is our usual stomping ground. Probably the main benefit of going to kind of a little bit more meta as far as the team formation is concerned is it definitely makes matches just generally faster. The only way we would be able to fully combat the meta is to take a lot of tanks and a lot of healers and then just push for middle, which leads to, of course, the very long, 10+ round matches. Most of these matches were ended in 2 to 3 rounds in most cases, either because I screwed up or my opponent just didn't have an answer for what I had, or the opposite. Season rewards, by the way, we have, who is this guy? Oh, is this? What's his name? Well, in any case, this actually threw me off. I saw the skin in the Chinese matches, and I'm like, what the hell? Is that a flying troop? What the hell is that? And then these aren't flying troops. These are sorceresses and witches. So that's the skin that we got coming up. Besides that, not much else to point out. Besides looking up that character. I believe that is... Yeah, I believe it's Alfred. I think that's a skin for Alfred. Yep, skin for Alfred. For all the people that use Alfred. But in any case, I'll do some more matches probably either later on Saturday, or I'll do it on Sunday. But I'll try to, of course, make a push for Gold 3 as always, just to get more enchant materials. But until then, I am the Depressed Hero. This was Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 10. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next week.